So it's a great question, one I take seriously. To be candid with you and the chairman and the other members of the committee, monetary policy has distracted me a bit in the first 7 weeks, but the Federal Reserve Chairman is supposed to be the chairman of monetary policy and payments and consumer affairs and supervision and regulation. But I can tell you this, Vice Chairman Bowman has been working on these initiatives. She has briefed me about them. And broadly, I'll step back and say modernizing our banking system, streamlining regulations so that the rules that apply to the systemically important financial institutions are not one size fits all for every other. The secret to the American economy is we have a few thousand banks and other providers of credit who know their smaller markets bigger. I'd rather have that system than what most of our G20 peers have, where they have a half a dozen institutions implicitly backed by their government. I think reform is coming to supervision and regulation. I have my own ideas that might be as dramatic as I've already shared on monetary policy here. And I think the sooner we can get to the bottom of it, the better. If I could say one more thing, the reforms we've been putting in place over the last 15 years coming out of Dodd-Frank, as we learned in the Silicon Valley Bank example and the First Republic example, they didn't work perfectly. My predecessors had very little choice but then to do another overall bailout. We don't want that to happen again. So we want to tailor the rules and the capital so they serve the best interests of the U.S. economy, which I describe as a system that is safe, sound, and competitive.
And I just hope, given what you've said, we double down on reviewing the framework. We know how important tailoring is, and also just the need for regulatory certainty. So thank you for that. In my last remaining seconds, I just want to say thank you for your commitment in the first 7 weeks, almost 2 months. You said it earlier, but to performance, to accountability, to responsibility, and to integrity. Appreciate what you're doing and look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Warner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Warsh, it's good to see you again. 7 weeks in, you got a hell of a job. Inflation's still too high. How you predict the president's chaotic foreign policy, wars in the Middle East. I'm going to come to an AI question, but let me be clear. As I said to you yesterday, I didn't vote for you. But we're going to find a lot of common ground to work together. I am going to hold you, and I've been appreciative of your comments about inflation, about the Fed's independence. But I think there are many, many common areas we can work together on, and look forward to that. I want to hit, when one of the things that most impressed me in our first meeting was your recognition that probably the biggest issue you're going to face is AI. My 2 cents is I think it is going to have long-term, I agree with you, it's going to be job creation. Very short-term, I think you may see some upsurge in terms of energy production and data center build-out. Years 2 through 5, 2 through 6, I think there could be massive economic disruption, particularly towards new college grads. It's a policymaker's job, but if this is going to have the potential effect, I hope I'm wrong, but I'd take a bet with you that 3 years out, we could see 30% recent college grad unemployment. If we see that, what do you see as the Fed's role is in terms of urging your actions, but also helping us sort that out?
Senator, first of all, I appreciate it. I promised to this.
Don't say nice things about me. He's got me on a clock. Answer my question.
All right, good. Well, let me just say.
I do indeed.
Let me just say this. I appreciate that you haven't given up on me. I haven't given up on you. I haven't given up on your colleagues. I'm the independent head of a central bank. No matter how people voted, I'm going to be serving all of you.
This doesn't count against my time.
AI. Let me get to the core of your question. I am more confident that there will be a surge in output because the U.S. is at the cutting edge of AI than any certainty about the effect on the labor market in the next few years. The United States will be a winner. That is my informed judgment. But this is a time filled with both challenges and risks. We take both parts of our dual mandate seriously. Do I believe that the productivity improvements over time will be structurally disinflationary? I do. I believe everything technology touches ultimately gets cheaper. Your background, I think, would be consistent with that. What are going to be the effect on the labor markets in years 2 through 5? It's a fair question. The way I would frame it to you on college graduates, if you're a new college graduate, AI is probably native to you. You've been playing with AI effectively since your high school years. I feel as though you likely have the skills and the intuitions, the same way that people of my generation or younger were native to the internet. If you've already been in the workforce for a while and you're a little resistant to change, that's where the encouragement needs to be to think about how these skills can make you more productive. These are fair questions. I don't have easy answers, but I do have a task force that's going to be thinking about it.
We have to work together on, because if we hit this bump, and I think it's going to come, we got to collaborate. Now, Senator Reid asked a very good question about Mythos, and I 100% agree. Mythos is already yesterday's news,
right?
Because these models are coming out so quickly and they pose such security risks. I think it's incumbent, because of the risk it provides to our financial system, that at some point you're going to be, and I'm asking you now, I think, personally, I believe we need some level of mandatory testing pre-release because of the potentially draconian and dramatic effects. Now, how long, who's on that panel is critical, but what do you think about pre-testing release regime going forward, more than just the voluntary willingness of a company to come forward?
Yeah, so two things. First, these models are in their capabilities are growing at an exponential rate. In technology, we would say hyper Moore's law. It wasn't long ago people sitting in my position thought that the U.S. was a time of secular stagnation. All the good stuff had been invented. Boy, that seems awfully anachronistic. We're moving fast. So what can we do? I don't have, as it currently structured, decision rights as to who has access. But I do have a bully pulpit, as you mentioned, and I'm unafraid to share my views with the Treasury Secretary and others. The cutting edge is moving very quickly. Key institutions are vulnerable. The sooner they can mitigate their vulnerabilities, the better. I'm looking forward to working with you.
I hope that you will be willing to advocate moving on beyond a voluntary regime, because the downside risk. 12 seconds, quickly address the role of all of the Federal Reserve banks and your vision of what the role they should play.
So very quickly, I'll just say this. We should be good stewards of taxpayer money. We should be consolidating functions where we can. But my mental model, Senator, as I mentioned to you yesterday, is we should have 12 centers of excellence. I've got more than 12 problems on my plate. And if each reserve bank were to develop an expertise on something that matters to our remit and the American economy, I'd encourage them to develop that advantage.
Senator Ricketts.